Yeah, so we're in. We're live and exclusive. So that means that we're just pole position and one further up. So a Wacka Swimming Bars, Sarah, sorry, you're now number one, not number two. But Sarah's here for a Wacka Swimming Bars, book 2, page 153. Welcome, Sarah.
Hello. Do I come up?
Yeah, just come up to the rostrum and the floor is yours. State your case and we'll hit you with a few questions and it's that easy.
There's just some hands out. Oh, cool.
So they go to send it out.
Sweet. Good afternoon, council members. Thank you for your opportunity to speak with you today. We are here representing the Wacka Swimming Bars Committee and to ask for financial support to operate such a vital resource in the Catlins ward. Since 1979, a dedicated community members of the Catlins community have invested time and money into this facility to where it is today. Back in 1979, the pool was an outdoor unheated facility. I have been involved since we have completed a massive $850,000 revamp to bring this pool to a recognised facility used widely for events all over from all Otago residents. The pool is the centre of our community hub and a meeting place for all. Our pool is such a valuable local resource benefiting all corners of the community. Our local school swims 3 times weekly. Children train early morning and after school with the swim club. Young to old enjoy the pool for leisure and recovery in open session times. Travellers gain a casual key from the Catlins community country store and local school groups stay at camps regularly use the pool if the weather does not allow their planned activities. Sports Otago also run local and Otago triathlons from the facility, increasing engagement for all to participate in a safe environment to run, swim and bike. We're just circulating the profit and loss for this. So as you can see from the 2024 profit and loss report, we made a loss of over $6,000. This season is shaping up to be similar. We have not finished paying our power for this season. The March bill, which will be paid shortly, is $3,117, and April, May is still to come. Our shutdown and maintenance costs will follow once the pool is empty, which was a hefty $6,500 last season. Daily work for chemical and pool maintenance costs has reduced this season, as we have been very fortunate to have a community member perform this voluntarily, which is a huge ask. With the rising costs associated with maintaining any pool in this current economic environment, we as a committee are struggling to see how we can continue to run the Wacka Swimming Bars. It is increasingly challenging to secure the necessary funds. Fundraising is no longer a reliable source of income. We have a limited pool of locals who give generously and continually called upon to contribute. While the generosity has been remarkable, this is unsustainable to expect this continuing level of support indefinitely. Currently, Wacka Swimming Bars is fortunate to receive an annual contribution from the Clutha District Council of $12,530. We are requesting you consider how you support your rural communities. As ratepayers of the Clutha District, losing this facility is not an option. We need your help. This payment can align Catlins pool with the benefits that other pools of the Clutha District are fortunate to experience. We do not have a facility in Wacka. There will be large numbers of people in our ward who will not experience the joy of swimming and water safety in their own community. There may be other options in the district, but ongoing financial barriers and rural isolation limits people's accessibility to these. We propose that Wacka Swimming Bars deserves 50% of the portion we pay of the UAGC for Catlin Ward for swimming pools. Wacka ratepayers contribute in their rates and can only hope this contribution can arrive back in our community to support our facilities. Volunteers who have paid their portion of the UAGC contribute hundreds of hours of work per season to operate our facility. These volunteers then pay additional pool charges to be able to access their own pool. The 50% contribution would make it realistic and equitable for all segments of the ward to access the local pool. We need a funding model that alleviates the burden from the same group of locals and businesses, so together we can operate a fair system for all. Thank you for your attention to this vital matter. We look forward to your support and collaboration as we work towards a fair solution to benefit everyone in the Clutha district.
Well done. Thank you for a good presentation. You got there. Questions, team? Councillor Herbert.
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, great verbal presentation there. Thank you. So you're currently getting 12,330, I think you said.
530. Yeah, 12,500.
And you want 50% of your UAGC?
Of the portion that goes to the swimming
Do you know what? Does anyone know what that would be?
No idea.
Oh, surprise, surprise.
There we go. But will it be right?
Surprise. Can I ask Councillor?
Yeah, you sure can.
Well, it's a topic that's close to my heart. But anyway, so currently those outside Lower Clutha are paying your UAGC. It's about $95 you're contributing towards swimming pools. So they're asking 50%.
So you don't know what the combined, what the amount they would get would be, the combined total halved? Is what I'm asking. Is it going to be
Right, the
15,000?
12,000 that they currently get comes from the community facility, community services rate in the ward, not from the UAGC portion of swimming pools. The only benefactors of the portions of swimming pools currently is the Clutha.
Yeah, but what we mean in Dana is that if it's $95, so 47 or
Correct.
whatever, 47, how many UAGCs is in the Catlins?
Area.
900.
900.
So that's a $45,000.
We're probably starting to debate this now.
Yeah, no, it's not about, it's about 45,000.
982.
80.
Just through your worship, you would expect that when we do the decision report, that we'll do the homework.
Yeah, it's the task force, sorry.
We're just not doing the homework at this point.
I've just taken it one step further from Councillor Herbert. Why 50%?
Well, because I guess not everyone, like in the Catlins Pool, we also use the Clutha pool and stuff like that. So I'm not quite sure how it all gets divvied up. I'm not privy to that information. But so I'm guessing some of it might go towards the Clutha pool out of our rate paying things.
Yeah.
So I guess we need to also support our other major pool that we also use, especially in the winter when we close down. So, I mean, we can't be too greedy, but we'd like a little bit more than what we're already getting.
No, that's pretty cool. Questions, Councillor Martin?
No.
Okay, no further questions. Well, good presentation. Thank you for that. Clear and concise. We appreciate it. Okay, team, I think we've now got Sid in the room. Sid has entered the room. So can we please go back to book 2, page 99, and welcome the team from Sid. Come on up, and the floor is yours. Welcome, team.
All right, thank you. Sorry we're a bit late. Google Maps took me some strange place. So,
Clutha's not strange. There's no strange place in Clutha.
no, it's only Google that makes things strange.
Not a problem. We still can get you in there.
Hey, so thanks for having us along here. Really pleased to be able to be here and to speak a little bit to our submission, which is a bit of an aspirational part of looking what we can do more for rangatahi in the Clutha district. My name is Mike Tonks. I'm the interim general manager here, and with me.
Hi, I'm Jessie. I'm one of the youth workers at Southern Youth Development.
Kia ora, my name is Jethro. I'm an outgoing senior youth worker at Southern Youth Development in the last few weeks.
Yep, Jethro has been doing a lot of work in the Clutha district for a number of years, and so have the team at SID for about 10 years coming down here doing some work around rangatahi. Our application this time is to say, well, it would be helpful to do a little bit more than that and meet some of the needs which have been identified both within the community, on the rangatahi themselves, and so on. So the Trust has had a lot of interest in helping young people find themselves, their voices, their skills, their positions, their passions and their abilities, so that they might find their successes in transition to adulthood enriched in well-being. And to do this, we've developed and refined a number of programs and ways of engaging with rangatahi that seeks to make this change. Most of the work here, as you're aware, is based in Dunedin, but as just noted, we have been coming to Cluth for the last 10 years and still do a couple of days here every week, working with young people in a range of different ways. Presently with Jethro, but he will be moving, he is moving on, as he just mentioned, and we're recruiting for someone to take that role. And Jessie, who's one of our great youth workers, is picking up that and has been doing a range of things. And she'll speak a little bit brief about what she's doing and what she intends to do with that. What we're looking at with this is to say, with all the acknowledgement that our rangatahi are still continuing to struggle, that a little bit more work could be useful to do here to help build that success. Based on what we are currently able to do in Dunedin, showing a way of engaging young people with our alternative education programs, with our Hive, which is around digital development and attention to that, some enterprise aspects which we're working on with young people with a partnership with Innovate HQ, and with things like the bikes. We've started a piece of work here with like what happens in Dunedin, where bicycles which is taken to the DCC landfill, taken and recycled. Recycling cycle seems to be a good thing to be able to do, and then being able to provide young people with some skills in how to start repairing that, develop a little passion, a little bit of understanding about mechanics, and then being able to provide cheaper bikes back into the community. As I said, that's what we're doing. That's how we see this could be extended here into the Clutha district and making a bigger change for rangatahi. As I said, we've got Jessie here who has been doing some of that work. At present, we're doing supporting the Clutha District Council, Youth Council, doing some individual mentoring, small groups, and focused on the future programs, etc. And I wonder if, Jessie, could you just speak a little bit to what you do and sort of stuff that you've begun to hear from the young people?
Public speaking is scary. Yeah, so I am predominantly based in Dunedin, but I do spend some time down here. I come down here every 6 weeks on a Monday, and I'm part of the District Youth Council meetings. I've just hung out with Jethro all day today down here, and we've gone around to the high schools and had some conversations about the small groups that I'll be taking over. And there's also one-on-one mentoring involved, so it's obviously there's a high need for that. It looks like I'll be spending 2 days down here. I think that speaks for itself in terms of how high the need is that my time is really needed. I do all sorts. I also help with the alternative education program, so that's 4 days a week, Monday to Thursday. People who are disengaged from mainstream education for whatever reason. Yeah, I don't know what else.
Sounds good.
I do a lot.
Just what would you like? You've had a bit to do that. What have you heard young people say that
Sure.
they need?
Thank you. Yeah, I've been doing youth work down here in Clutha for a number of years, and I just want to thank the council actually for having the vision to invest in young people. I don't often have councils around the country who are willing to put a little bit of money where their mouth is, which is so well done, you guys. The need in the schools is increasing. We do what we can. I think SID is just one of many organisations that you guys have that take an interest in young people in this area. The needs are from very high level, acute, high complex needs, neurodiverse young people, right through to young people who just need an interested adult. You've all heard that phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes 4 interested adults to help a young person to make significant change in their lives. What we do is best measured in an immeasurable result. We influence and guide and say the right thing to a young person, and they might remember that 5 years from now. They might not remember my name. They might not remember that the council funded it, but they will remember something I said that makes them a better parent, that makes them a better employee, that makes them a better citizen, that make them vote. Those kinds of just basic kind of stuff that so easy to assume that young people will develop into. But if nobody's there to give them that little nudge, to do that strength-based approach, to give them a little bit of recognition as important members of our society, I think that goes a long way. So thanks again for the council for being willing to put some money towards that, and some more would be good. Thank you.
Cheers, Jethro. Questions, team? And just before we start, just so you're not thrown by the name, since the new Malcolm Trust, I suppose that means Jess is the new Ruth. I don't quite know what that means. Long history in the Clutha district, involved with our youth, with those at the most vulnerable end, and they've been a real asset over the 10 years as they morphed from Malcolm Trust through to SID. Questions, team? Councillor Simon.
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor McAtee.
That's right.
That's only the first time today.
Yeah, I know, I'm not doing too bad.
Look, thanks for coming along. This year, when you put your submission in, you didn't actually present any your accounts from the previous year, and you've asked for a substantial sum of money. So I'm just curious as to how you performed during the last year, because I remember last year you also requested a top up of funding, and in that same year your equity had lifted by $80,000 for the year ended 2023. So I'm just wondering, that would have been useful.
It definitely would be useful. I'm afraid I'm unable to speak highly to that, as noted in my role as the interim general manager. I haven't had all the detail on that, and only work half time. Happy to supply that thing. I know that with this particular application, it was about to extend to move on the things that we're presently doing and bring some more of that work into the community. The numbers around that, I think it's 149,000 is the extra stuff that we've put on there. Part of that, there is a contribution that is recognised from SID, which would be for the alternate education program, which we've heard is a valuable thing to have in the Clutha district, because there is nothing here for those young people disengaged from school. And that has that funding from the Ministry of Education involved, plus support through the Otago Community Trust. This is on top of the stuff which we're delivering at the moment. Obviously, you'd like some detail around
I'd like
that.
to see a bit more of the financial information. Before we make a decision, because it appears that for a charitable group, you're probably doing okay financially.
We're holding things at the moment, and some of that's been helped by some changes in some staffing, and but with the potential for being able to invest in some expansion is what those funds are held for.
Councillor Finch.
Thank you. There was a survey undertaken by the locals. What area was the survey done in, and how many were involved in that? For the first question.
Well, you know that question.
We regularly touch base with our young people to get stakeholder feedback as well as the participant feedbacks. So the question is, what kind of needs?
No. Where was the survey done, and
Sure.
how many people took place in that?
Sure, I'm not sure of the actual numbers of how many. Basically, we would have surveyed young rangatahi that we have access to in the schools, all generally teenagers. So, but we go up to 24. So there would have been definitely some young people in that older young person category as well.
Thank you. And then it's been suggested that there's a youth hub in the main street of Clutha. Have you found out how others will be able to travel to get down to Clutha?
This is a conversation we've begun with Sarah from Moriero Services, and this is something which we see as being an asset where some of these things could actually work out for the rangatahi here. How they travel, those things are still in discussion.
Right. Okay, and then you say the youth hub may also require operational funding grants to set it up. Where are you applying to for those grants, please?
That particular piece of Mary sits with Sarah Panara. She's the one who's driving that forward, and we're partnering with her. But yeah, definitely some vision for a youth centre there where youth organisations are inhabiting that hub to give both young people a safe space to go, as well as interested adults, as well as healthcare, mental health support, and again, interested adults.
So where will you get the funding for the operational to set up? You've said may require operational funding grants to set it up. Where are you going to apply to get those?
Okay, that's probably a question for Sarah Panara. She's the one doing that.
Okay, can those questions be answered when you send the financial?
Yes, we'll put that in there for you.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Councillor Ludman.
Probably my questions have been mostly answered because I absolutely would want to see a copy of the financials.
Yep.
I think it's an absolute for this amount of funding. And I was particularly interested in the youth hub that you're proposing, and really to determine that it was Belclusa that you're proposing that and exactly what.
Yep.
So that was where I'd like a bit more clarity around.
That's good. We can put some more clarity around those things.
Councillor Graham.
Yeah, I see that you've set up a workshop for payments, blah blah blah, and Milton collaboration with Project Bruce. What was their contribution to it?
What
How
was-
did they fit in?
What did Project Bruce put what financially to that, or in terms of
Or
their
whatever.
engagement? I know we've started that. They have set up a space where that can operate out of and funded that, and put some money towards some of the tools. The rest has come through some of SID's fundraising.
So Project Bruce funded part of it.
From that is what I'm aware of.
Any further questions, Tony?
Well, Your Worship, just clarification, just want to be clear that you're requesting nearly $150,000 over and above what council's currently contributing. Is that granting? Is that correct? For a range of, or a new program that you've put through in your submission? Is that what we're saying?
That figure should be modified by saying it's 149 minus the ones which are our contribution. So it was not clear in that submission, which is the 79,200 and the 9,000. So it would be an application for 61,100.
Additional, that makes
That
makes a big difference to the council when they're looking at things.
What was that total, sorry?
61,150.
In addition
To what we have at the moment. So the 149, which is in the submission, was the total amount that was required for this plan. And that should be with the 79,200 as the contribution from SID and the 9,000 from Otago Community Trust allocated to this, which gives it a total of 61,150, if my maths is correct.
Oh, that's helpful, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for that. Okay.
I've just got one more question. So we provide funding annually now to SIDS. Do you know how much, and I guess it's in the long-term plan that it was already funding applied for this year. So how much is already in the long-term plan for this year?
38,580.
38,580. So this is an extra from that.
Just to be able to bring in those other aspects and other support for the youth. So it's and in terms of establishing an alternative education thing, which would happen probably 4 days a week, and bringing all of that together takes a little bit of extra resources to get that established.
So probably as part of your report back to us, I would like to perhaps see the accountability.
A little bit of accountability
report
in
for
detail.
that, what you've had this last financial year as well. If we're going to look at providing extra funding, I'd like to see the accountability report for this last financial year, as well as your financials for this coming year.
And sorry, Your Worship, just one more clarification for the councillors. Is it, if you start this program, is this a program that's going to then require additional funding from council for subsequent years? Or is it just a set-off one-off request?
I think there is some setup stuff there, but there would be obviously the need to continue to fund this through whatever sources we can do. And obviously if the council would be behind that, it would be helpful for its young people.
Okay, team. Thank you also for what you're doing for our young men and across the district over a number of years. Appreciate it, and thanks for coming and helping us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Righto, team, where are we? We Clutha Development. Welcome, Linda. Book 1, page 26. Sorry, not just Linda. Sarah. Okay.
Zero.
Sorry, Linda, the floor's yours. Found the place.
Thank you, Your Worship and councillors, for the opportunity to speak to you today. I'm Linda, as you know, and I've brought with me today Sarah Homer, who manages the delivery of a lot of the destination management activities through the development on behalf of the district. First, I'd like to thank council for your annual investment in destination management. Your support has been critical to the positive momentum we've built together across the district. Destination management is about ensuring that the growth of our visitor sector is well managed and benefits both residents and visitors alike. The report has been taken as read, but I want to highlight a few key points to you. Through the development, understand and acknowledge the financial pressures currently facing the district. In response to the current challenges and economic environment, we have also reviewed and refined our destination management budget, ensuring we can still optimise opportunities for positive impact while delivering as efficiently as possible. So we've asked for a reduced level of funding for the next 12 months. Continued investment and commitment to destination management is key to sustaining the positive momentum we've all worked hard to build, to initiate actions from the Clutha Destination Strategy, and shows that consistent investment delivers economic results. Through our combined destination management efforts, real progress has been made. Employment in our tourism sector has grown steadily, with 457 people now employed, which is 4.8% of the district's workforce. Tourism GDP contributed nearly $30 million to our economy in 2024, and visitors spent over $100 million in the district last year, helping to support local businesses across accommodation, retail and hospitality. And accommodation guest nights, visitors stayed a total of 140,800 nights during the year to December 2024, which was up $2,500 on the previous year. Without investment, this momentum we have built will stall, reducing the visibility of the district's attraction and experiences and limiting our ability to compete as a destination. Tourism growth, like all economic development, is a long-term strategy. It takes time and consistent effort. Pausing now risks setting back the progress we've made in attracting visitors, businesses and investment into the district. Sustainable growth doesn't happen overnight. It requires ongoing commitment, and especially in a region like ours, where we're still building from the ground up, having taken 5 years since Council's investment in destination management to build our credibility as an RTO across the tourism industry. Our trade relationships are a great example of this. After 4 years of consistent trade show presence, new agent partnerships have been secured for our businesses. We are also supporting a travel company to build itineraries that will bring tour groups into the Catlins for a 2-night stay. These are examples of real results from long-term effort. Destination management is a collective effort. It relies on local businesses, tourism operators, community groups, and strong regional and national partnerships. Being a small RTO with limited funding that is approved annually, collaboration is key. It enables us to access opportunities we couldn't reach on our own, such as Southern Way, which incorporates their neighbouring RTOs, and Dunedin, Queenstown and Invercargill airports. The Otago Cycle Trails Collaborative, and engagement with Tourism New Zealand and Regional Tourism New Zealand. Government is also supporting a collaborative model through tools like the Regional Infrastructure Fund, Regional Deals, the Regional Tourism Boost Fund, and the Regional Events Fund. An example of recent success has been through the Regional Tourism Boost Fund. Southern Way secured $350,000 to attract Australian visitors this autumn and winter. With Jetstar's new Gold Coast Dunedin route, we're showcasing Clutha NZ's incredible coastlines and hidden gems, helping to increase visitor numbers, extend stays across the region, spread travel year-round, and support our local operators. And the Regional Event Fund allows us as the RTO to manage funding applications for event promotion, and this is currently an annual funding policy. Current funding allows us to be proactive, strategically planning for growth, addressing challenges early, and positioning Clutha NZ as a competitive destination. Without it, we risk becoming reactive. That could mean missed opportunities, slower responses to industry trends, and ultimately fewer benefits to our local economy. Council invested in the extension of the Clutha Gold Cycle Trail from Lawrence to Waihola, and it is one of our roles to ensure that the trail realises a return on that investment. At Lake Waihola, a trail counter records an average of 218 users per day. While some are repeat counts, this shows strong, consistent usage that's contributing to new businesses, increased offerings from bike companies, and longer business opening hours. External funding and partnerships also require local buy-in. Investment from external agencies, including government grants and industry partnerships, also require local funding commitment. Without this, we miss opportunities to improve infrastructure, enhance visitor experiences, and develop industry capability. And finally, a thriving visitor economy enhances the livability of our district. Shared spaces, upgraded amenities, and vibrant experiences benefit both residents and visitors alike. Thank you for considering the important role that destination management plays in shaping the future and continuing to position the Clutha district as an attractive place to live, work, visit, and invest. By working together, we can ensure the district remains an attractive and a welcoming place for all who visit and for those of us who call it home. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Linda. Questions, Dave? Councillor Simon. Come on, I'm having a bad day. Yeah, turn it. Well done. That's
You've worked out that you can probably make a saving, I think, of 45,000. So where's that coming from? What have you basically done to?
So we've trimmed back on our marketing budget, and we have in the past used a consultant to help us with some of the review around the destination management strategy and make those connections with us across the network. But because we've developed relationships over time, we've got that credibility now, and we're in a good position to be able to do that ourselves.
further questions, Tony? If not, pretty comprehensive overview. Thank you, Linda, and thanks for all that you do. Pass on to the team. Thank you. Where are we? Oh, yeah, right over on book 1, page 61. Groundswell, Bryce McKenzie. Welcome, Bryce. The floor's yours.
It's good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and councillors, and thank you for listening to what I have to say. I take it everybody's read my submission. This is something that means a lot to me, is community funding. I can go back years ago with community funding, as some of you here will be able to also. And most projects that were mooted by community members either got the backing of the community or they didn't. If they got the backing of the community pulled together and set to fulfil the ambitions of the people involved. And normally that was done with voluntary labour and voluntary fundraising. There's a major dynamic shift in New Zealand, and we've seen it through central government, and it's certainly caught on in local government. Goes right through institutions. Most farmers would be acutely aware of companies making exorbitant profits and then passing on some of those profits to feel-good projects that perhaps haven't got the backing of the farmers or the community. I would suggest to you that what we're experiencing is very similar in the council. I think you're, actually, I've got an article here, most of you probably seen it, recent Clutha leader. Now, I'm not deriding the dog park in Milton at all, but I noticed that last year there was some people here when I come along to do a submission, and they were requesting funds to do this. And I was a little bit concerned at the time because I thought it would probably only be valuable to 1% of the population of Clutha district, if that. And it's concerning when these organisations are able to get funds, some of my rates funds, for a project that I'm never going to be part of. And I would suggest to you that, as I said before, 99% probably of the ratepayers in Clutha district wouldn't be part of. I suggested in my written submission that maybe it's time that Clutha district council sent an example and canvassed their ratepayers to see whether they thought community funding was a good thing at all. And you might be surprised at the number of people that would say that no, it should go, funding should be going to the core business of your council, which is water, roads and infrastructure. So if you, I can assure you, you will never run out of people wanting funding for projects. It just will never stop. And I'd also suggest to you that most of those projects should be run by the people who want the amenity rather than going through the rate system. We have people contacting us, and you possibly do too, that can't afford to put a meal on the table now, or they claim that anyway. And that's a sad state of affairs when rates are going up to the extent they are. So it's good to see you made a 3% cut in your initial budget this year, but I'd suggest to you that there's a lot of people out there that would be able to find ways to make a far bigger cut. I think that's about all I have to say.
Thank you, Bryce. Questions for Bryce, please. Councillor Harriman.
Thank you, Your Worship. Bryce, how important is the Kui's hall to its community, do you think?
Not very.
Not very, you think?
No, it hardly ever gets used.
That's interesting. So what about the cricket ground?
Well, yes, but you would know yourselves that we raised a lot of funds for that, which Clutha District Council took office because they were going to take care of it. We still raise funds and do anything that needs done at the cricket ground ourselves.
To do with the reason I'm asking is, I mean, a lot of these small, and you've used, community funding that's used by a small section of the population, community feel good and all these sort of things, but for those particular people, it's actually quite important. And it wasn't that long ago we had the Kui all along here, and they wanted their funding increased, which we agreed to. They want to keep the hall open.
Crazy, eh?
Well, it's important to them. I don't want to debate this, but I'm saying how
it's my hall too, and
you don't think it's that important?
Well, it doesn't get used. I can't understand. I think the only reason that they wanted the funding was to pay the power bill.
So you'd be quite happy for sports fields, libraries, schools, swimming pools, and those sort of things to be for us to reduce our funding.
Yep, I sure would.
And you want to live in a community with no sports grounds, no hall, no community centre, no library, no pool.
Well, I'll take you back to how they got there, and they were not started by handouts from district councils. They were started by the community who wanted those facilities. If they don't use the facilities and don't want them, they should be closed down. What's the point in keeping them going?
You'd be quite happy to live in a community without those facilities.
Well, they're not getting used, so what's the point in them?
No, that's fine. If you're happy with those facilities gone in your community, then that's interesting. Thank you.
Brilliant. Sorry, Councillor Mackey.
Sorry, I didn't have a question.
Oh, sorry. I thought you had your hand
I was looking forward to it too.
I've certainly got a few questions, Bryce. So just firstly, you were saying water, roads, infrastructure. Why don't you stick to it? This council is sticking to it. Do you know what the rate rise would be if we excluded water rates, water, roads and infrastructure?
What the rate?
What would the rate increase be?
If you're only sticking to those, I have no idea, sorry.
If we excluded water, roads and infrastructure, the rate increase will be somewhere around 3%. Now, interestingly, and it's a question I
Sorry,
really
can
want.
you clarify that? If
you exclude the three waters, the roading and Mount Killy.
If you exclude them.
Yeah, from the rate rise, we're looking at urban of about 26 and Milton and the likes, which is really weighing heavily on us as a council. And you said, well, why don't you just stick to water, roads and infrastructure? Water, roads and infrastructure is 21 of the 24, and Balclutha or 26. We are only spending a fraction of it. But the next question I ask you is, are you aware that in July this year, this council would have had $41 million in the bank, no indebtedness, no future litigious or financial burden from the three waters, and the 41 million would have generated over $2 million in interest that we could have funded the likes of what you're saying. We have the system, and yet I think it would be fair to say that there was no institution anywhere in New Zealand that worked to stop that more than Groundswell.
Oh, no, I would disagree with that.
Stop Three Waters was definitely your cornerstone campaign. So this is the predicament that council is faced with. So the question I ask you, no, it is a point, I do have a question. So consequently, how do you think you can come here and tell us when the predicament we've been placed in? I stood and talked to you at Philip Langhouse 4 years ago and pleaded with you that if this happened, that if we lost the Three Waters reforms, we were going to bankrupt the people we love and the communities we serve. Here we are. And yet you come and tell us that it's our
Oh, no, I'm not telling you
Point of
anything.
order,
I'm
this
here
is
to
not
put
a
a.
debate, James.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. It's not a debate. I've put the point across.
Yeah, no.
Okay, any further questions? Councillor Ludeman.
Bryce, you were sort of a bit critical of the dog park. And I asked, have you visited these dog parks? Because I say good luck to Milton, but there's a dog park here in Clutha. You could do to go and have a visit. I just wanted to clarify. It's not a question, but I'm asking, have you visited a dog park and do you know how our dog parks have been funded?
I'm sorry, I only used that as an example of what happened. And I did say at the time, I wasn't here to actually deride the dog park. And no, I haven't been to dog parks. Yeah, well, I have in Invercargill and I have in Gore. No, sorry, I may not have been. Certainly have been in Invercargill. And I understand that they are a facility that some people use. But if you work out the percentage of the people that use them, it's probably only about 1% of your ratepayers. So it seems like a lot of money to be spending on something that 1% of your ratepayers use.
But perhaps you need to know how they've been funded sometimes, because it might not always be the ratepayer.
Right.
That would be my comment.
Okay, sorry, that was just an example. There's any other example.
Further questions? If not, Grant, thank you very much for your input.
I'm Bryce, Mr. Mayor.
Bryce, not Grant. My apologies. I'm going well with names now, Simon. You haven't got a hope for the rest of the day. Okay, team, we are one away from the next break. So it is book 1, page 79, Gail Oates. Welcome, Gail. Floor's yours, Gail.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Yeah, my query is about the Milton Pool project that we thought was going to start actually on the 4th of December last year, because that's what we were told at the Milton meeting. And now it seems to have stalled. We haven't been informed about price, and we're not sure whether it's in this, this year's plan, or it's been pushed into the 10-year plan? Now, if it is gone into the 10-year plan, what are the costs? Do we know the costs of the pool now? Is that going to increase or decrease the cost? These are the things we need to know. Simply because the meeting on the 26th of September last year didn't say any of this. This is not what we voted on. We were voted on that information, which is completely different from what seems to be going on now.
Questions, please, for Gail. Councillor McAtammany, I've got it.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask a question. Can the executive please explain to Ms. Oates the timeline for the Milton pool as was raised with another submitter this morning? Just clarify that again.
Oh, sorry, through your worship, I'm just trying to remember what we're talking about. So so just a couple of things. Council approved to proceed with the pool at a budget that you gave approval for and a method of funding for it. What we said was that we're doing the work to get a contract signed, and if the contract is signed that meets the funding envelope requirements, then I'll sign it because you've approved it and it happens. If the contract comes back more than what you had approved, we would have to come back again and relook at the process. And I said to all the elected members and the public at the time, it's our intention to achieve the budget amount that you've approved, no more. And so we're still expecting to get to a position of signing the contract. So the work's still being done to get to that point. And I believe also just in terms of the timing indications, my recollection of the public meeting commitment that was given was that I think that the question was, is the contractor able to begin work or immediately on approval of, or as close as possible to the approval of that funding? And I think the answer from the contractor perspective was yes, they are. But of course, we've got to go through and get the final costing details, which we never had at the time. That's why we always said that there was going to be an ability to bring it back to council if the final costings were higher. We have to still obtain final design, final costings, with the expectation that it doesn't go beyond the 19 million that you've approved. So that's what we're doing now. And part of the reason why things sometimes are also being delayed, your worship and councillors, is we are doing everything we can to ensure the final design and costings equal the budget, so it never has to come back again for relitigation. And so that means toing and froing on bits and pieces to get all that right, to nail it all down, to get it as per the submitter this morning saying you've got to get it, you've got to get a final contract, and that's what's happening at this point. We are making progress, and we're not too far away from that, but we aren't going to do anything about bringing anything to you if we can get the contract signed for the budget you approved, and that's all the work behind the scenes that everyone's doing now. So that's the intention.
Well, so where is it? Is it in this year's plan or in the 10-year plan?
Oh no, it's always been in the it's going to be reflected in the annual plan. The decision that was made for December is that we identified where the funding consequences of it. So the decision was made, how it was to be funded, which affects the rate side of things. It was part of the decision. That decision has been taken into the annual plan. It's in the financials for the annual plan. It'll be in the financials for subsequent annual plans because they are outside that. The annual plan is only for 1 year, so it is reflected in that.
So you don't know? You don't know if it's going to be
No,
in this year's plan or the 10-year plan?
Excuse me,
No, the
please.
funding.
Well, that's what I'm hearing.
No, that definitely wasn't what.
Yes, but the
We don't know
CEO
your
just
question.
told us it might have to be
Excuse me,
pushed out
please, can I have
depending
point of
on
order?
the.
Excuse me, please.
No, so the funding that was approved in December through the resolution and the decision has been taken into, as it impacts on 1 year, which is next year's annual plan. That's in this next year's annual plan, as per that resolution. That's the budget to be finalised through this process, because that was December. We bring in the information, you make a decision to finalise what the annual plan will be, but we have certainly taken the information as it impacts on next year from that resolution. So yes, it's in there.
Right, so
So sorry, it's us that are asking questions at the moment. More questions, please, Councillor.
we asked the questions, right?
No, you had your opportunity and now
Oh, I
we're.
hadn't finished. I've been listening
So
to the
Council-
CEO, who's not an expert.
Councillor Payne.
Thank you, Work, and welcome, Dale. Look, I just reading question 16 in your submission here, and you state that the ratepayers were given a cost of $20 million to do this poll. Just, when was that given, or who gave?
That was given at the Milton meeting. And we've just heard our CEO talk about that particular cost. He said it himself. He said it's going to be a $20 million cost. He just said it.
19.
19, call it 19, call it 20, near enough.
$800,000 is a big difference.
Well, you should know. You're the trustee of the hub that went up $7 million in one go.
Point of order again. We're moving. So let's be quite clear here. After your presentation, councillors ask questions. Further questions, councillors? If not, thank you very much, Gail, for that. And at any
Well, I still
time-
don't have an answer, do I?
No, look, truly you do. The 19.1 million is now open for tender. We're working through that tender
We were
process.
told that it was going to
If
start.
it comes in, then the project.
If it comes in,
And if it doesn't, it comes back here.
to
And we
be
have
pushed out.
So to your worship and councillors and to the submitter, the purpose of the hearing is to hear, you speaking to your submission, right? So we can understand if there's any additional questions or whatever. Council then will go away, staff will do the homework for council decisions on what you raise, and then there will be a response to you,
I hear you.
and you'll get your answers
Yes,
then,
I hear you.
as opposed to debating it.
Yes,
now
I
in the
know.
hearing.
Thank you
Does that
very
make
much.
sense?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you, team. That brings us to the close of the session 4